Yo, what's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host with the most renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back for another edition of the Raw Rewind, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show. And you can't have Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show or the Raw Rewind without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
Oh my God.
Man.
Okay, wait a second. I forgot to tell you this.
Oh my, breaking news.
It might be because it was breaking news to me when I saw it Sunday maybe. So I think the Ruthless Aggression era figures are being replaced by I don't know, like WCW or whatever, something like the Monday Night Wars era. I think that's what's happening. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Yep.
I do not collect figures, but I'm going to have to get the figure of Scott Hall it's the figure of him when he invaded WCW in the Canadian tuxedo.
Oh, Sarah.
When he says, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
Know why I'm here.
Oh my God. I feel like I have to get that one.
Yeah, I see. I've done it. You got to go with your gut when it goes to decisions like this. It's like a big football fan or a music fan. Football fan with a jersey or like a sign ball, and a music fan for like the vinyl record. Like just because you can get it on Spotify or you maybe outgrew it, it doesn't fit anymore. You need to have it there because it triggers a good memory. And in this day and age, we need all the good memories we fucking can get.
I know. So I'm like, when I saw that, and it was like, I don't even know what it was, an ad or something on a wrestling site I was looking at. I can't even remember how I came across it, but I was like, wait a second. Like, I thought it wasn't real. So I looked at it and I was like, oh my God. Like, it was just like an early markup of it. But and then they showed some other ones too, but I don't remember who they were because I didn't care. I was like, I don't care. I just want to see the Scott Hall. And so I got really excited because, like I said, I've had some figures, but I think I might have donated them. I don't know, because I had like a legacy set, so it was Ted, Cody, and Randy. But I got rid of it, I think, because I'm like, I don't do anything with the figures. So I'm like, but I would get this one.
I still have my figures, actually, I think 6 feet across from me in a closet. And I've had this idea for a while, just been waiting for like the right time, because it's a busy season right now in wrestling, to do a live stream where I'll just show them off and just talk.
Are they all out of the box?
Oh yeah, I play with them. So, and I mean, I'll just give a little sneak peek here. No.
It sounded like you were like, I play with them.
Well, we went from action figures to creating our own universe in Xbox. So like,
sure, whatever. You still
like,
take baths
everything
and play with them, have matches in the water.
I used to do, so I had a setup. We're going so off topic, but it's worth it for this story because it's incredible. So we had a desktop because there was no such thing as laptops in like 2000, 2001.
Wow, really?
Well, I don't know.
I'm older than you, so of course
but the peeps may not be.
Okay.
So we had a big desktop, and it was like a big wooden table for it, and we had a empty wine fridge that was next to it. And what I would do is I would have the entrance ramp, like a store-bought one from Mattel, entrance ramp, the ring, and I would create my own shows. To the point where in 4th grade, I vividly remember this because I don't remember 4th grade because I was doing this. I would sit in class and make match cards of my figures. So I'd make I'm going to have Dean Malenko face X-Pac here. And then in the main event, and because I'm nonsense and a lunatic, I also love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they had their own little set thing. Yeah, that would be like a House of Horrors. Like we'd go to another area, and that was where the fight would be. Oh God, that was like pure bliss. That is joy that I just got there. And I have LimeWire for the entrance themes.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, I was incredible. I put on my own little promotion Uh,
What an era.
it was a real great era. It really was. But it's nothing like this era of wrestling. Segues are weird. Because this era of wrestling, Sarah, even with, and I'm going to just tease this to go right into the show, even with Vincent Kennedy McMahon being backstage at Raw last night, I would put this Raw in an echelon of an A minus.
And from what I understand, the show got 200,000 more viewers than last week.
But
So,
Vince was there, Sarah.
but see, and that's well, let's just get into it then.
Yeah, let's hear. So hear me out. Blocked what it said, but it's a hear me out. I wanted to bring it back to great. But yeah, Vince was there. Hear us out. Vince was in Hartford for this
Well,
show.
I mean, he lives in Stamford.
And there we
So,
go. There's our first clue of
yeah,
why
that
it's
was
not that big.
basically why he was there. Cause I mean, I think that he's still potentially communicating with Triple H and creative team or whatever via
Yeah.
phone, via internet, email, whatever they do. But I haven't seen a whole lot yet about how much he changed the show. From what I did see, someone said that it was just like I think you were talking in that tweet where they said he rearranged things. I don't know um how much truth there is to that. I don't know how much truth there is to potentially s- squashing matches or what, but yeah, it didn't. And it's funny because there were people who were talking about it last night, and of course, usually when you hear that, at least in the past year or so, when Vince is going to be at the show, you assume it's going to be bad. And so,
Yeah.
because the show wasn't bad, at least universally, people agreed that it wasn't bad. So many people were like, that wasn't a Vince show. That wasn't a Vince show. And I understand that argument because to an extent, because in recent memory, his shows have been horrible. I mean, all we have to do is look at the Raw after Mania and be like, okay, that was a Vince show. And you knew it was. But we also have to remember how long Vince was running wrestling. And there were not weeks on weeks on weeks where every show was bad. There were times where
Yeah.
there were shows that were excellent. So the idea that it couldn't possibly have had any involvement of Vince is a little crazy to me.
So my little 2 cents here with that, because you're 1,000% right with what you're saying. My I say vision of this is that Vince is not there to run the show. Vince is there to run the business. And for a long time, he had to do both. Now with Triple H, Papa Paul, whatever you want to call him coming into the head of creative role, and most importantly, it's someone that Vince trusts, kind of
Mm.
because has to, because he's kind of blood. So he kind of gets his wish, kind of doesn't, whatever. But who better to steer the ship than, Paul Levesque, seriously.
Yeah.
So with that trust and that safety that he has in someone being able to do it, has a great rapport with the young talent that you didn't quite get, but Triple H has a vision for them. And at the end of the day, it's putting dollars in your pocket.
Mhm.
So right now, what Vince is doing is just shadowing. He's just there because, all right, put it this way, he's a retired old man, like he's got, when you dedicate something like this to your entire life, stepping away from it cold turkey is the worst thing you can do. Like
Yeah.
I've had therapists tell me with my dad thing, like it's
Yeah.
not a good thing.
Yeah.
So for him to be just around it, okay, and if he's making like structural changes, like hey, maybe you should start with this before this, and then segue into this match after this promo or backstage segment, that's just shit that Triple H doesn't know yet. He has not run creative. He needs to know that type of structure because the content's there. I mean, the women were highlighted well last night, which we'll get into with the Money in the Bank qualifiers. The segments felt more genuine with how they were coming off. It didn't feel like they were trying to memorize a script. It felt like it was Seth Rollins talking to Damian Priest and so on.
Mhm.
So my kind of bow on top of this is that Vince could be anywhere in the world. He's going to make a change or two to the show because it's his baby at the end of the day. However, it's Triple H's show now. So he now has final say. Vince is only there to guide him when he doesn't know what to do because he's never been in that position. That's his role now.
Yeah, I'm fine with him. Like if all he does is kind of like rearrange things, I don't see a problem with that because if last night was kind of like a preview of that, then I can't complain because I don't think anyone would have known that Vince did anything to the show last night unless dirt sheets were out there saying he was backstage. Like I don't think anyone would know. My issue is, of course, is what we saw on the Raw after Mania, where he's cutting matches, adding matches, having like the half or more of the show, basically most of the show, 3/4 of the show, be backstage segments, promos in the ring, like cutting matches. Because I think it was like 28 minutes of the entire 3 hours were matches.
That was the one stat that stood out to us. I remember that.
Yeah, so like that is something that I would take issue with because no, that's not why people are attending the shows live. That's not why people are tuning in to watch. So I don't care if he rearranges things and lets Triple H do what he does, obviously. That I think is fine. I just hope that it stays that way because I don't want to see a bunch of Raw after Manias, like that
No,
was
yeah.
hard. That was a hard watch. Like
That was a really you almost got shut off. Oh, I remember that.
I know. I was like not even sure what we were going to talk about when we did the Raw rewinds.
That was a sad recap. That was a sad rewind. I remember
yeah,
that.
it was more so I think about us like bitching basically about
That
how
was
bad
we
the
were
show
just
was.
bitching. Just bitching in the artist streams.
Yeah, because it was just bad. So anyway, one more thing before we get into breaking down the show is it is a 1-year anniversary of the like formation of the Judgment Day when Mr. Finn Balor turned on your goat Edge, okay, and he joined the Judgment Day. And I have to say that is when we are you just laughing? Are you
This is awesome. Just continue. Just keep going. This is
so
thing.
I think it was probably one of the best decisions ever. And when we first started talking about it, we were like, okay, what was the point of doing this? Like, why kick out Edge? But I feel like their feud was okay. It went on way too damn long, but they had some really great matches. Obviously, it led to Finn versus Edge and a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania, and I can't complain about that. And Finn is the best he's ever been, almost in WWE. I would say in WWE, not in NXT. He was better in probably on top more so when he was in NXT, but as far as his main roster run, he's the best ever.
I'd give you that.
Yeah, and turning him heel, best thing ever. Just amazing. The past year of the Judgment Day, they're still dominating. They're on every single Raw, and it's the story.
Growing.
Yeah, and it's getting bigger. I wouldn't say it's equivalent to the Bloodline, obviously, but as far as like factions and people being invested in what's going on, it's almost equal in that regard. So happy anniversary to Mr. Fergie. Because his name's Fergal.
You're marking out so hard right now.
I love him.
You are just, it is oozing through you.
I love him so much, He's my fave.
I mean, after last night, he does. I mean, let's just talk about it because that opening segment was so good. And we got to get some comments. Listen, I just want to put this out for the comments. Keep them coming in, please. They're great. Yes. We love them. Problem is that we just want to follow the flow of the show so that we don't get distracted because there's a lot to talk about. So when we talk about what you said, we're going to bring you up. I got my eye on the comments here.
Okay, cool. Because I can't see them.
No, that's what the champ does. I listen to my peeps, but speak when spoken to.
Yes.
Because when the champ speaks, Sarah, you listen.
Okay. So just to roll into the beginning of Raw and to the main event, basically, which involves the Judgment Day, we have Seth Rollins come out looking fabulous, I might say, in his golden sparkly suit, which looked very great with his new championship. And really I really like the title. Like, I just really like the World Heavyweight Championship. I think it looks really nice. So basically, Seth just comes out and hypes himself up, says he is a fighting champion, and that he realized that the title hadn't been defended on Raw in almost 2 years, which is kind of crazy to think about that. because it just makes you realize the longevity of Roman Reigns being champion, of Brock Lesnar being champion, like throughout that time, and how much we miss seeing championships defended on the shows during the week. That is something that was a staple of the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, just like every era before, like the last like 5-7 years, whatever.
You have any reruns I've watched in my rewatching where I've seen the WWF title, and yes, WWF title defended
I
on
know.
the show. It's like a SmackDown on a Thursday on UPN.
I know. It's
Like,
crazy. And it's like now it never happens. So I love that that's something that Seth wants to utilize again. I know part of it is because of being the contrast to Roman never defending it anymore ever. But I still like it because I do think that Seth is passionate in that way about doing that, and it isn't just because of what's going on with the other titles. So he talks about that's basically why he extended the open challenge, which we know that Mr. Damian Priest accepted via Twitter. Bamian. And so him and Finn Balor come out, and Priest was actually not how I was expecting him to be.
No, he was it was awesome. The aura that it was very, he wants to be the phenomic figure of Judgment Day. Because they don't really have that. You have Mom, who's like just the dominant. Like Rhea Ripley's just like the broad.
Yeah.
Dom is the little shithole mouthpiece, which I have a lot of comments. And then Finn is just the guy who he does thing whatever, but he's gonna say what Damian's thinking essentially. Like he's kind of just like, oh, what are you doing? Like you're coming around here in your fancy clothes and your fancy catchphrases and all that.
Funny. He said funny. You're such a funny guy with your funny clothes and your funny, laugh and your funny this. Yeah. But I did feel like Finn was coming for his fashionista title last night. Did you see those silver pants?
I did like the silver pants. I was gonna make a comment because
they look
not only comfy but stylish.
I know. And with just a black t-shirt, just like his t-shirt. I was like, oh, okay, Finn. Okay.
Okay with that.
So Damian he came out and he started praising Seth, said he's a deserving champion, and his resume certainly fits the bill of being the first world heavyweight champion, but that he is going to beat him tonight and he will be the champion, blah, 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 blah. So Rollins is like, okay, but you came out here and you have backup. You've got your boy here and I'm alone. Like, what are you going to do? Because you always have them by your side during matches. So how about you leave them in the back? And Finn is like, you can't tell us what to do. You can't dictate what Judgment Day does. We can do whatever.
Leave him in the back because your buddy doesn't really fare well with me in championship matches.
And so Finn is all like testy, and then Damian's like, no, it's fine. You can stay in the back. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Okay. So he said that he wanted Finn to stay in the back, and Finn wasn't too thrilled about it, but that's what ended up happening. And I don't remember what Seth said when he was on his way out, but oh my gosh, the iconic photo. I need to see like a gif of him when he like throws the mic and then it's just like
like Austin Powers just
like leaving the ring. I was just like, you are a god. I have nothing else to say about Seth. I just can't. So anyway, fast forward to the main event. A long ass match, 25 minutes.
Yeah, 25 great. Minutes. So more wrestling than the night after Mania. So
I know. So I would say my initial takeaways from this is one, Seth must really love that gear because he's still wearing his Night of Champions gear, which I do enjoy it.
Don't hate it.
I like it. I also love Priest's gear because obviously he's a big Outsiders NWO fan, so he uses a lot of influence from the Outsiders, like the drip, and so I really love that he wore the purple tights. And he does the surfer walk a little bit, not as much as he used to, but his tights were great. I liked the tribute to the Outsiders once again, and I felt like, this match had basically everything in it, and I liked that it was a pay-per-view quality match. I felt like it was a great way to kick off Seth's reign as the new champion and make it feel important, because I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people, because we said at the beginning that the Raw did better this week than last week, I really would not be surprised if a lot of people actually tuned in to watch this main event, because the numbers generally fall like in the third hour or like to the main event just because of the time that it's
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if that was something that people actually wanted to tune in to see, because it really was like, if that was on WrestleMania, if that was at Night of Champions, it doesn't matter. I feel like that fit the bill for any pay-per-view.
Yeah, that was a very good, like, yeah, pay-per-view match. What it did was it gave Seth, I would say, the first legitimate defense.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's Seth Rollins, not going to lose first time, but stepping into the ring with a guy like Damian Priest now, he's that next guy. When we talk about, I'm going to go 2 years, 3 years from now, who's in the title hunt come Royal Rumble time, that's a legitimate, you know, uh, someone who could get it, win. It's going to be Damian Priest and that, and to see that kind of stepping forward now, and him finally getting his, I'd say, shine in the solo light. It's
Mm-hmm.
nice and well deserved.
Yeah, and like I said when we were talking about it last week or the week before, I don't remember when, but he was the only one of the Judgment Day that didn't get a Mania match, and he was like being super supportive of the rest of Judgment Day, and obviously a little bit upset because he was the only one. But I feel like everything that has happened post Mania has been better for him than had he had a Mania match, because he's had his Mania match. Basically, he's done better than I feel like what he would have done at Mania. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so during the match, I did like the callback that Rollins had with throwing Priest into the barricade, which was reminiscent of the throw when he threw Finn into the barricade and fucked up his shoulder. But
Like,
thank
legitimately injured him for.
legitimately, thank God that doesn't seem to have happened to Damian, because
Yeah, they
that would
have to.
really, that
No,
would have
that would.
sucked. Like, imagine I'd be like, Seth, maybe you shouldn't do that anymore.
No, because,
Maybe,
yeah. Well, he
yeah.
did it to Sting afterwards. Let's.
Yeah, but
This Sting's
so
still wrestling.
Finn thinks that apparently things are going bad or starting to look bad for Damian, so he comes out and Rollins super kicks him. So he's out, and Priest was confused, and he says to the ring, "Why are you out here? Like,
Why
why are you
you
here?" And so Rollins goes on to win, and then Finn squares up to Rollins at the end of Raw, and Rollins like waves at him, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So first of all, is Finn going to be the next
There we
opponent for
go.
Rollins?
There
But
we go.
also, what's gonna happen? What's going on between the dynamic of I'm sorry, Damian and Finn? Like, is there a little hostility there? Is it the competition now that they have a championship to fight for and they both want it? Like,
Mm,
there's a little bit of tension, and I hope it
yeah,
doesn't
me
really
too.
lead to anything. But
No, no, this is friendly tension right now. The Judgment Day is not stale, but they do
yeah,
need a little bit of their feathers ruffled.
yeah,
Uh, you know, not in any bad way, but there's a new title introduced, and
right.
the realistic side of things is Finn should be champion in a sense, because he never got that opportunity. When he did, it was literally taken from him by Seth Rollins, technically. And then Damian
Mm-hmm.
Priest now is been built up. He's put in the hours. He's grinded to be part of that main event type of card. So like, you just have to build it in there. It's not going to break up the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
They're only getting stronger, and it's just it's a nice little red herring of sorts for the viewer. That's all. It's just a nice little, like, oh, are they going to do it? Whatever, to take your eye off the, the big. What are they going to do with them? Whatever. And then
Mm-hmm.
once you think, like, all right, it's over, or oh, they could do one more match. Boom, their next feud right away.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't want it to lead to anything else, and I don't think it will. But I thought it was an interesting element, because I'm like, I don't know, it might have been something that people weren't really paying attention to,
Mm-hmm.
that, or it might not seem like a big deal in the moment, but maybe it's something that they come back to at some point in the future.
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
knows?
Exactly.
So we shall see.
See.
Was there any comments that correlated to that, or should we just keep going?
I didn't see any off the top here. I'm seeing a
Okay.
lot for the later ones. I see one
All
that
right.
I'm gonna talk about. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So let's get into the Money in the Bank qualifying matches. So we first saw Becky Lynch versus Sonya Deville. The first thing I've noticed, have you noticed recently, or at least as often as I can remember, when Seth has a match or Seth has a promo or something, Becky's out afterwards or vice versa. Have you noticed that?
Yes, and I know why.
Why?
Because when your segment is done, it's like you're okay, you can leave now. So because they're married, because they're together, whatnot, they probably travel together. So when they
Well,
stack
of
the show, they
course.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they
I just
stack
thought
the
it was
show.
funny because they did it recently with Bianca and Street
And
Profits.
Tez, there
So
you go.
yeah, so I
Yeah.
just thought it was funny. Anyway, so
Well,
Sonya, of
insight
course,
to the
yeah.
business. Yeah.
So Sonya comes out with Chelsea Green, obviously, and eventually Trish and Zoe also come out and they watch the match from the entrance ramp. And I mean, the match is fine. It's exactly what we thought it was going to be. Chelsea gets involved a few times. Becky throws her into the barricade and Sonya like multiple times. I was like, "What is going
Dang.
on, Chelsea?"
Chelsea got a little
She was
edge to her.
I know. I was like, "Ooh, girl!" Like she was getting thrown pretty hard. I was like, "Oh, okay." Um, and because of Chelsea getting involved, Becky does end up winning with a main handle slam. Which this is these two Money in the Bank qualifying matches for the women were very obvious to me. Uh, we knew that Becky was going to be put in this match, and we were talking. So Maddie on Twitter, in case you guys don't follow him, he's a wrestling fan. I was commenting on one of his tweets because he was talking about how he really wants to see the Money in the Bank matches be people that are not in the title picture or have like maybe not been champion before. And we've talked about that too, where it feels like that's how the Money in the Bank matches should be, because the whole point is that they get the briefcase. So that's their opportunity to become champion. And so right now it looks like that's how they're going with the men's. I mean, from who they
Yeah,
have in the
man.
match so far, they've not been champion except Nakamura. He's been champion.
No, he hasn't.
But he's not been universal champion.
Nope.
Really? Okay. Well, he doesn't necessarily need Money in the Bank, I guess is just my bigger point. But maybe at this point, because he's freshly returned, and the two that we have coming up on SmackDown definitely have not been champions. The women's looks like that's about the same, except for like who's in the match so far, which we knew Becky was going to be in the match. It's in the UK. They're going to have her
At
in
the
it.
O2, you need Becky Lynch at the O2.
And Zoe's now, we know Zoe's in the match, which I'll get to in a second. It makes sense. So far I think they're doing a pretty good job about following that, because there was a year where like Brock Lesnar won it. Like, come on. Like
Boombox Brock, baby.
we don't have, Charlotte, Becky, Bailey, like all of them in the match. You know what I mean? Like that's good, at least for the women. And I'm excited that maybe that's a thing that Triple H is trying to implement now going forward, that it is people who have not been champion.
Feel bad for Lacey Evans though.
Why? Are you joking?
Being so sarcastic.
Oh, okay. So I already hinted at it.
Selena Vega had to win that. Come on.
Did you see her feuding with Sergeant Slaughter's
I
daughter?
was talking about this too with a buddy of mine at work.
I really think that she's in character all the time. She's like Grayson Waller or whoever. She's in character all the time. But
do you follow her on Instagram? Absolutely.
No.
I do.
No, I don't follow.
I do. It is all military. I am a girl, whatever it is. Yes.
Yeah, and like, I don't particularly like her, so that's why I don't follow her. But I know that she's in character 24/7, and I think that people were taking things that she was saying super seriously. But I do feel like the Slaughter family is actually possibly bothered about what she's doing. But that's why it's possible. But I'm like, that makes me team Lacey though, because
it makes me team Lacey for sure.
She was a Marine. Sergeant Slaughter faked it. He was never in the military. He pretended to be in the military for years. He told war stories that were not true. Like, if you're gonna really break it down, like let's go there, Sergeant Slaughter.
I'll go. I don't go there unless it makes sense. For Lacey Evans, I love this because it's actually her.
Yeah.
To bring it full circle, it's her. There are few people right now that they are them in WWE at this point. And the people who are, they had to get to that point where they had to go through some bullshit characters to finally just be them. And for
Yeah.
Lacey Evans to do it, and it kind of falls into a nice gimmick, like, go with it. There may not be plans for you right now, but it's fine. We don't need plans for you right now. We need plans for you in like October, November, December. Like, just coast the summer, be the promotion person who goes on these, access tours and community service stuff. Get
Mm-hmm.
that, get some FaceTime there, and then get ready for the ring when we need depth in the
Yeah.
women's division for a Rumble match or a potential just new contender for the title. I did not think I would be this pro Lacey Evans, but
I
like,
know.
god damn,
I know. Well, and that's the thing too that I think people don't forget that yeah, now she is kind of being portrayed as like a female Sergeant Slaughter, but the military has always been in her character. It's always been the influence, the main event of her gimmick. So I don't really understand the issue. Like maybe Sergeant Slaughter's daughter really doesn't have an issue with it. I don't know. But a lot of the children of wrestlers, like older generation wrestlers, generally do have this like sensitivity to them where they don't like to see something like this
they can't
happening.
think outside the
But
box. Yeah,
but it's like she was a Marine too, and that shit ain't easy. Okay, like I come from a Marine family, and
same.
my grandfather was a Marine, and so I'm like, we're pro Marines, and we know that they are the toughest branch of the military. So if you're really gonna come for her when she was a girl and she was in it, I think for 6 years, she she went to war. Like, girl, go talk to your daddy. Like, Miss Little Slaughter. Okay. So that's the only time, like you said, that I would be pro Lacey Evans. But here we are. Well, I was last week too. Look at her. Remember, I was
Well,
saying
yeah,
she would be good competition for like Rhea. And here I am once
she would be
again.
really. There you go. That's but it's different show. But yes,
Yes, yes.
something.
All right, so we got
Oh, we're
Natalia
getting to you,
versus.
David, because actually, David has a comment that leads into what we're talking about. Thank you for
Okay.
bringing this up. Is this Trish Stratus's last run?
Yes, 100%.
1000%.
Yeah,
She's a Hall of
she's
Famer already.
well, she's 47. You know, like she deserves to be able to just like be done with wrestling if that's I mean we already saw her retire, so
Yeah, no, I was in grade school.
now it's like it's fun to see her return and do these little things. But yeah, this is definitely her last run, and I think it's a good one, honestly. So
It's a nice run for everyone. I just want to say this quick. When Trish Stratus coming back right now is like Moolah and Mae Young in the 90s. It was that pioneer of that era that had maybe one or two like legit star women,
mhm.
and now it's just more modern. Like, it's wrestling repeats itself. Like, that's
Yeah.
why if you take it for what it is, where it's just the nostalgia coming back to really put over the next stars, then you run with it. So I'm okay with it.
So we got Natalia versus Zoe Stark, and this match, it was exactly what we thought it was going to be. And as I said on Twitter, if you didn't think this match was predictable, seeing Natalia not even get a televised entrance told
She
you
did not.
everything.
When we came back from break and I heard her, I was like, oh,
I know.
Jesus. That
Yeah.
sucks.
So Trish was ringside. She did interfere in the match, which set up Zoe to hit the Z360 and win the match, which, it is what it is. That's what we
All I care
presumed
about.
would be happening, but I'm fine with it. And I know that some people are taking issue with how Natalia is being booked right now, but I really think that she might be taking that backseat role now. I think she might be in that position of her career that, yeah, she's like the Dolph Ziggler right now. She's the Miz right now. Like, she doesn't want to necessarily be front and center. Maybe she does. She might have aspirations to be like women's champion again. I can't say that she doesn't, but I can't imagine that she also isn't embracing like that veteran leadership role where she is there to help put people over and to make them look good in the ring and kind of just like, I don't know, help the younger talent. She's been around for so long, so
Yeah, she just needs you sometimes don't always need to be in the title picture or contending for the title.
yeah.
You just need to be
Yeah.
doing a job, filling a role, and that's what she's doing right now. That's the beauty
Mm-hmm.
of wrestling, where she is going to do mainly house shows and matches like this. and then she's gonna go home, have some time off, and she's not on. It's the beauty right now where she can take that time off, and then, as I said like 5 minutes ago, come October, November, December, when we need to build depth and build more characters, storylines, and whatnot, you bring her back into the fold, and she's ready and not overworked. Beautiful.
So the women's Money in the Bank match so far will be Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, and Zoe Stark. We will talk about the SmackDown ones when we talk about our SmackDown preview, but so far it is looking pretty good, I would say. Then we move on to Kevin Owens. He hates Imperium. Feeling is not mutual. So
I love you, Kevin. I'm like SpongeBob
Sammy,
when he's like, "Hi, Kevin. I'm downloading that clip as well."
okay, Sammy and Kevin Owens are interviewed backstage about the bloodline, and I was kind of disappointed about it because I was like, I thought we were done with this, and I hope that's just the last of it. I mean, I understand the relevance of it, but I'm like, come on now, they don't care. We don't care. We don't care anymore. It doesn't matter.
We don't
So
care.
while they're being interviewed, of course, Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci, they interrupt, and Kevin gets all pissy again.
Because
So
they didn't respect the rules, Sarah.
I don't
They
care.
were not mentioned. They were talking about the bloodline. There was no need for them to come in.
So
Sorry.
Kaiser says they may not have to worry about the bloodline going for their titles anymore, but that as long as they have them, they'll have to worry about him and Giovanni going after them. So Owens freaks out about them being there, like you just said. And then Gunther shows up and he's like, hey, bro, just like calm down, dude. Like, that's exactly what he said. Verbatim. That's exactly what he said. And because Owens is already all fired up, he was like, you know what? No, I want to kick someone's ass. I want to punch someone in the face tonight. It's going to be you. And he just marches his way all the way down to the entrance. And Gunther just stands there like, okay, whatever. So yeah, that leads to Gunther versus Kevin Owens. And this was another pay-per-view quality match.
It was. I just want your thoughts on how they sold the commentary. Graves.
I know.
Patrick. And like I don't know. I loved it because it was a flow of a show that we have not seen in that Vince era. And the fact that he was backstage last night and we had this, like, there hasn't been anything like this in a long time. And the way they did it was so seamless and smooth that it just felt like, oh shit, like it's right now. But
yeah,
it kind of ruined it with saying, oh, and Adam Pearce just made the match official. Like we don't need Adam Pearce to make the match official. They did this another time too, with another match we'll get to talking about. But that was my only beef with this whole thing, was that we don't need Adam Pearce to make every match official.
Well, I think it's their way of trying to remind us that they have a general manager, but obviously he's not the way that they used to use general managers. So it seems like they kind of don't really know how they want to use him. Like, do you want him to be kind of like behind the scenes and like, he's there, but he's not really featured? Or do you want him to be like how you use Teddy Long and Eric Bischoff? Because I like, that is a moment where I feel like that's what they were doing, where it was like, oh yeah, we have a GM, and it's like, oh, okay, like,
yeah,
it's not impactful, but okay.
Like, yeah,
it's just weird. So Owens says in the ring, which I thought was funny, I don't know if you noticed, before Imperium came out, he said that he didn't want to see Gunther's stupid entrance. I don't know if you saw that, but he was like, I don't even want to see this stupid entrance. And I was like, how dare you, sir?
Imperium.
But, yeah, I was very excited. I love this one account that I follow, and I don't remember who it is, but they always post the clip of Gunther taking his jacket off and Kaiser taking it. And he's like, I will never not be impressed with this. Every time I see it, I'm impressed.
How can you just look at that and think, oh, cool?
I know. I mean, whatever. I've whatever. Yeah. I think it's cool. I
want someone to be my person. That would be so cool to mask. When we finally meet in person, we're gonna figure that out.
You want me to be Kaiser?
No, but we're gonna figure it out so that we can just have people do it for me.
Okay.
I think it'd be hilarious.
It probably would. So obviously this was a great match, as my little banner says. This was also pay-per-view quality.
Absolutely.
And it had everything in this match. Okay. There were chops. There were swanton bombs. There was smashing into the barricade. There were submission holds. There was Gunther off the top rope.
He was froggy. He was feeling froggy.
I was like, what is going on? I was literally just talking about how he doesn't do off the top rope shit, and then here he is just
He's
jumping. I was like,
listening.
"What is?" I know he watches the show. um,
What's
just
up?
kidding. Hey, and there were several close calls, like close falls is what I meant.
Near fall.
And near falls. Yeah, I don't know why I had a brain fart.
I've
And
had many this episode.
yeah. So my only problem with this, because we know Gunther won, my only issue that I took with it was that Vinci and Kaiser got involved, which kind of made it look like Gunther needed their help to win. That was my only issue. And just because I was getting frustrated because, like, I love me some Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, okay? But, like, when you're putting them up against my boys, I don't love them. So I was getting really irritated because I was like, they cannot have Gunther lose right now or I'm going to be so
I thought
irritated.
KO was going to win because it was a non-title match. I thought
I
that
did too. And
I
I was like,
was thinking about it.
I was like, you cannot have Gunther lose a non-title match, okay? Like,
Yeah, that's not how the streak ends.
and Kevin Owens doesn't need the win. Kevin Owens is Kevin Owens. Like, he doesn't need to win. So that's why I've taken issue with them even beating Imperium. So that was why I was glad that Imperium won last week. But yeah, so Gunther wins, which is fine. I hate how he won, but I feel like this was, I've kind of talked about how Gunther has felt like he's slowed down a bit in the ring. He did not in this match. I feel like this is one of his better matches over the last few weeks that we've seen on TV.
PWG Classic. That's why he didn't have to slow down.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah. And so I loved it. And of course, Kevin Owens is great. So it doesn't, I don't know. It was a match made in heaven,
We have some comments about this match. Yay.
Okay. Let's get to them.
Are you excited for Imperium versus KO and Sammy again? I think they need more matches, wins to gain momentum. I'm all right with having this feud string out until SummerSlam. Like, give them a match of Money in the Bank because you need to. It's the O2. I get it. But you need to have this feud finish in the U.S. I don't care who wins. I don't care how they go about it.
I know. I care who wins.
Well, I know. But you need to have it end at SummerSlam because Money in the Bank, you can. You have some time to build it up. You need more matches that aren't Money in the Bank matches.
Yeah.
And title matches, especially at the O2, and the reaction that both guys are gonna get. It's gonna be electric.
Like, do you think it's gonna be like cheered for hardcore?
It's gonna be like European crowd. Yes,
it has to be. They're Austrian, Italian, and German.
That is the Axis powers.
Yeah, you cannot not embrace that. Okay, embrace your home people. If you won't, I will.
Oh, okay. All right. So, Micah, he already knew. I mean, we all did. All right. Yeah. That's why I tuned in, to be quite honest. This was my main event. I loved every minute of it. And I honestly thought it was for the title. And I was like, oh, it's going to be an open challenge. But I was pleasantly surprised when it was not and how they did it. It was very nice.
Isn't that funny? It's crazy to think about, like, because Gunther has defended his championship so many times, you assume when he's on TV and in a match that it's for the title.
They did their job. They did their job.
Yep.
And then Micah asked, what's your favorite KO match in WWE? That is a great little end because I have a favorite one that's not in WWE. My favorite match in WWE KO is when he won the Universal title on Raw. And I loved it because he finally got what he deserved. Or that Jericho match at WrestleMania was electric. So
I have a favorite Sami Zayn match.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura in Nakamura's debut in NXT. Hello.
One of the few people right now whose entrance theme, I think to the day, still gives me goosebumps when I hear it. Because I think of that crowd, and it was.
The crowd last night was really good.
Really good crowd in Hartford. That's what happens when you come to the Northeast. You get a good crowd. We don't have many of those.
Yeah, that is true.
And then I'll let you bring up the next topic before I bring up the next comments.
Okay. Will you get rid of the comment?
Oh, I forgot.
Please.
I forgot. There we go.
Thank you. Then.
There it is. There it is. My favorite segment of the night.
So, Riddle continues his presumed feud with Gunther by being annoying backstage. I hate him having a random issue with Gunther. I think it's actually really stupid. And he's like, I'm tired of seeing him like cheat every week. And so I said STFU. That's in my comments. STFU. So Imperium rolls up and is like, watch your mouth, bro. And he's like, I'm gonna kill you. And then he beats them up, and he specifically takes it hard to my man Giovanni Vinci, and I just hate everything about it.
Yeah, he took my boy Matt Riddle took Baldy and put him in an ankle lock. So
do not call him Baldy. How dare you? How dare you?
that was it. That was the comment. I was waiting to make that. Oh, I had that one queued up in the old noggin up here. Yeah, he put Baldy in an ankle lock, and I'm not kidding. I'm sorry, but I'm continuing my train of thought. So, and when he did that, like, I loved it because I see another side of Riddle that isn't the stoner bro. This is the bro at the gym who wants to bang out a couple sets on the bench, you know, drink some protein workouts. Like, that's the type of bro it feels like they're moving towards. That's why they still have bro in the shirts and they're still going with it, but just a different direction on the path. And I like what they're doing with it because it makes Matt Riddle more legit.
I just want to understand why he took it harder to the guy that doesn't talk.
Yeah, I would have done it to Ludwig if I'm being quite honest. I would have took him out and put him in an ankle lock because it's really annoying when he's like, "Well, come ladies."
Shut up! You imitate that all the time. That is not.
Because I love it, but like he's annoying and needs to be beat up.
No, he doesn't. How dare you?
All right. Well, like I call it how I see it.
Anyway, my main takeaway that I would say is positive is that I love how much they're using Imperium, that they're like backstage defending each other, getting into backstage fights, that it doesn't matter who it is. All three members of Imperium are doing that. So I love that. So I love how much they're being featured on Raw. It's a lot more than they were on SmackDown. And that's why exactly why I said that I wanted them to be switched to Raw. So far, thank you, Triple H. That's what I need a t-shirt.
Thanks, Papa Paul.
Thank you, Triple H, because this is exactly how my faves should be being used. Okay.
Because
shout out to the person that said that they're collectively not even good at wrestling.
Yeah. What are we doing? All right. What are we doing?
See, David said Gunther doesn't cheat. I know. That's the thing that's like really weird about Riddle saying that. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
if Riddle's best friend Randy was there, he would do the same thing. Just saying.
And Michael wants to know why I hate Riddle so much. I feel like if I have to explain it to you, then
yeah, I'm not gonna.
I feel like it's obvious why I would not. But
it's not someone Sara would like. Let's just
no.
Straight up.
Plus, him in real life is a disgusting human being. So I just can't. All right, moving on to some other fun stuff. We got Kaden Carter and Katana Chance debuting. So we saw that Ronda and Shayna were interviewed backstage. I believe they said it was earlier in the day. I hope they were saying it was earlier in the day. I don't know.
I can't.
I know. Hold on. So we got Kaden and Katana decided to challenge them for their Raw debut, and Ronda was just like so rude to them, being like, just saying that they were stupid.
Oh my god!
I was just like, you're so annoying. So as much as I hated that they were being thrown to the wolves essentially in their debut match, I still felt like it was a really great showing for them. They were able to, do a lot of what they did in NXT. They were able to show people like who they were and how great they are as a tag team. This is the thing I've been talking about, right? Like I've said this a million times. Katana Chance was Casey Catanzaro, which is her real name, and they were pushing her as her own Casey Catanzaro character in NXT. Kaden Carter was doing whatever, and then once they kind of rebranded Casey into Katana, they paired them together, and now they are an amazing tag team for the women's division. And this is exactly what I say. We need to stop trying to focus so hard on pushing women as solo stars. Like, you don't do that with the men. You easily can see, okay, this guy, it would be so much better if he was in a tag team. Let's put him with this guy. I feel like they'd work together, and then they're a tag team. You don't try to push every single dude that comes through the doors as a solo star. So they need to do that with women because we need legitimate tag teams like Katana and Kaden. And so I love that they looked great. It was
Their
being
finishing
reported.
move is my favorite. I
I
love
know
the after party.
it's great, and WWE is reportedly happy with their performance, and I
As
feel
they
like
should
they
be.
should. Um, I also wonder who they're going to feud with first, because obviously it says a lot about how WWE feels about them that they threw them to the tag team champions on their debut. Because I was wondering when they were going to debut. We kept seeing these hype reels the last couple weeks. So I wonder who they're going to feud with, because there's not a whole lot of female tag teams on Raw right now. I
Dana
mean,
Brooke and Natalia. There you go. Or yeah, there's
why? I mean, I don't know, but
I just stumped you. There it is.
I don't know what to say. So yeah, I'm just curious to see where they go from here, and hopefully we keep seeing them on TV. And I want to see them against legitimate tag teams and not just like two random women that they just like decide are a tag team this week. But that might end up being what it is, because like I said, there's not really any tag teams on Raw right now.
I'm
So
flipping the bird to Baron Corbin as NXT pops on
okay.
my screen.
And I don't really want to talk about the tag team champions.
No,
So
we don't. I
okay.
refuse to talk about Ronda Rousey in the yard of streams.
Okay.
Moving on.
And I'm getting ripped in on YouTube for my takes on Ronda right now. So
Yeah.
I don't want to add to
No,
it.
it doesn't matter.
I mean, I don't care. It's just funny that like all of the negative comments that I've been getting have been people coming in and you know, simping for Ronda. So anyway,
Hard.
speaking of simps, we have Chad Gable and Otis and Maxine. They had a little backstage segment, which I love that they have a united front. As I said, I love that they decided to stop having this tease of breaking up the Alpha Academy, because we knew that that wasn't a good idea, and
so
obviously
hot.
that seems
They're
scrapped.
so right now.
You're what?
They're so hot right now.
Okay. Oh my God, that's not. I thought you said. I thought you were like, I'm so hard right now. And I was
Wait,
like,
no,
what?
no, wrong H word. I did not think you were gonna say that.
I was like,
that's what
excuse
happens
me.
when Baron Corbin pops on my screen. You know,
I'm so hard right now, dude.
oh my God,
Holy
Baron
shit.
Corbin.
It's Baron Corbin. He's making me happy. Anyway, woo. Okay. So basically, this was just talking about how Maxine wants to take on Valhalla, which no one in the right mind wants to see.
I don't want to hear Valhalla.
But Otis was saying, "Hey, Mr. Gable, you're gonna need to teach the pretty lady to take on the Viking lady," and he says that he can't teach her with her outfit that she had on right then. And Maxine was like, "Don't worry, I have the perfect outfit in my locker." And she walks away. And you would think that Otis and Gable have never seen a woman before, because they were like,
"Yeah, what did you
like
think?
just like
Why'd you just make her sound like a Barbie fairy? Like."
Well, because that's like
princess. She's like, I'm going to go. I don't know.
Because she was like, I have the perfect outfit in my locker. I don't know. But I wonder if they're gonna have like a love triangle thing or something, because Gable was also kind of like drooling as he was watching Miss Maxine walk away. You know?
Yeah.
But I'm here for it.
We can't have that. We can't have them break up right now. I love the Alpha Academy, and I love these backstage segments that they do with them right now, because there isn't like, yeah, throw them in a match, cool. They're gonna do exactly what they do all the time.
Yeah.
Now it's time to really develop the Alpha Academy. Like, who are they with Maxine? Are they gonna make her into a woman wrestler?
You almost said diva.
I almost said it. Been watching a lot of 2000s wrestling. That is a no word. That's on Vince's X list. Yeah, I am a big fan of them steering in that direction, because then what it's going to do is, all right, they're going to train her. Social content. Okay, that's them posting videos of her doing the workouts, you know, maybe them after a workout, you know, what to eat. And it's Otis eating like a shit ton of carbs, like pancakes, French toast, bacon, whatever. And Maxine's eating like a salad or a protein shake because that's her training regimen. You know, shit like that. Like, that would be so funny. And that's what they need right now that I think they're lacking.
Yeah.
And it would be nice for them to go in that direction, because they don't need to be in the tag team picture right now.
Well, and they might, because Maxine did that kind of stuff with Maximum Male Models, so they might like having the extra videos and stuff, so they might end up doing that. Then we had Miz TV with Mr. Cody Rhodes. Okay.
Whoa!
So we saw Miz was singing along to Cody's theme song, but if you watched the video that WWE posted, he doesn't know a single word to that song except for "Whoa." So like when I was watching it live, I was like, "Oh wow, he's like singing along." And then WWE posted it and was like, "Oh, Miz is a Cody stan." He's sitting there being like he doesn't know what he's saying. It's like, you know, when they tell you to just say watermelon and you just
That's
look like
what
you're
I was
watermelon,
literally
watermelon. Like
mouthing.
that's what he was doing. And I was like,
As you
you don't have to do this, you know, like you don't have to do this. But we said that the crowd was really loud and really great throughout the night. They were singing along very loudly during Cody's entrance, and I was here for it.
The whoa gets louder every
No, it
single-
does, but so does they're now singing the entire first verse. So it's like it's getting more and more like.
Are they singing something Cody Rhodes?
I hope not. But
I hope so.
I hope not.
It.
Don't insult him like that. How dare you? So Miz
I still think something Cody Rhodes.
Sure. So Miz did have a little throwback being like, "Oh, Cody, you look dashing tonight." And you saw that Cody wanted to say something so bad and he just like, "I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let it go." That was a great era, I have to say. Dashing. I love dashing Cody Rhodes. I was obsessed with the dashing tips, you know, and he was all like just like how to clean your ears, how to brush your teeth, how to like shave your legs. I was like, yes, this is what I'm here for. This is the content I paid to see. And Cody also called him Mike, and he made sure
awesome. The entire crowd chanted Mike.
Yeah, and he was like, actually, it's my first name is my last name is Miz. It's the Miz out here, and I was just like, oh my god. Miz then says challenging Brock was stupid. Huh?
No, nothing.
He said challenging Brock was stupid, and Cody's like, okay, well, that isn't one of the words that I've heard from people who have told me that it was crazy and that it takes balls to do so, which was something the Miz knew a tiny bit about. And that was when the crowd started chanting tiny balls.
See, it's all about the wording. If you just the tiny things about like little stuff like that, it just makes it from a 9 to a 10.
I don't. So of course the Miz gets upset about the tiny balls thing, and then he's like, hey, I also have a surprise guest lined up, and it's Dom and Rhea. Rhea gets in the ring and tells Miz to be quiet, and he says, yes, ma'am. Which I was like, yes.
I would say the same thing.
Yes. And then Dom starts to go after Cody. We got prison Dom return, and he was saying Cody was just another deadbeat dad because he's not at home taking care of his daughter. He's just like Ray, and talks a lot of ish to Cody, and Cody's like, oh, well, I have a lot of empathy for you. Spending 15 minutes in jail had to have been really bad. I mean, you left with a worse prison tattoo than me. And I was like, oh my God, why is he roasting himself?
Go to prison, right?
No, he's talking about the tattoo on his neck.
No, I know, but I knew he was referring to that.
No, he didn't go to prison.
If he also went. No, okay.
No, it's a joke because people hate his tattoo, the placement of it. They hate that he got it on his neck. I think it's like the joke. Yeah. Okay. But I also love the 15 minutes in jail because I was like, how long have I been saying that? I've been saying that since the beginning. Like, so I'm like, someone, Cody, do you watch? And then he also says that he knows that Ray is a great man, but that he's also made some terrible mistakes, and he happens to be looking at one of them right now. And I was like, oh, Cody, that's taking out the big guns, if I say. So Dom decides that he is going to slap Cody across the face, and then he dips out of the ring, basically. And Rhea steps up to him and was like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And Cody's just like, and then they just dip out. And Cody decides to take his anger out by smacking the Miz with his cast. So
I love that. I love that. Richard asked the question. This was like the first question. Sorry it took an hour to get to you, but that's the flow of the show. Y'all okay with Dom and Cody feud, or do you think their segment leads to a Money in the Bank qualifier match next week at That's It? Here's my thoughts, because I was listening to Busted Open today, and I don't know what it is, but Bubba Ray, Bully Ray, whatever you want to call him, might be one of the most intelligent minds in wrestling I've came across through listening to podcasts, documentaries, whatnot, even watching his stuff. And one thing him and Dave said today about this was that a Dom Cody feud is probably the best thing out of a shit situation that you could get, because Cody needs a buffer essentially before Brock. You know they're fighting at
Yeah.
SummerSlam. You know there's going to be a gimmick match involved. Now it's all about, all right, you're enticing the viewer to watch to find out what it is. You're not enticing the watch to find out what happens or what's going to happen next. You just
Mm-hmm.
so Dom is perfect because they're legit polar opposites of one another right now. Dom honestly might be the biggest heel in wrestling, most hated man in wrestling.
You could not hear him last night.
No, you couldn't.
You
Miz
even saw
literally
Cody being like he literally couldn't hear him, and he was sitting right there.
he raises the mic like that, and
Mm-hmm.
they just so with that, you have them feud for a little bit. Maybe even give them a match at Money in the Bank. Like
Probably, yeah.
yeah.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a one-off. It's just like to deal with Brock being gone until SummerSlam.
And then Brock comes out, interferes somehow, and with his interference, teases the stipulation for the match at SummerSlam. If that is not the path you were going on, then please enlighten me on how the other one is better. Because I know it's predictable, I know it's going to happen, but I don't care. There's enough shit going on with other storylines and other wrestlers and other brands that are in your company that need my attention and need that feeling of, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what they're going to do. That's not predictable. Yeah. Let this be predictable. It's okay. You have so much content going across your entire company. Let some things be predictable. It's okay. It also educates the viewer on the business, which at this point in wrestling, it's what you want. So
what's crazy is looking forward to a Brock Lesnar match.
He's been on every pay-per-view.
I know, but it's crazy that we're like excited to see Cody versus Brock 3.
Oh, I
you know,
and we're not only excited for a Brock Lesnar match, we're excited for a third of a trilogy.
And that's what I mean. Like, if you asked me this a year ago, I'd be like, "Are you joking?" Because I thought that his last match with Roman, with like the tractor or whatever he had, that I didn't love that match. I thought it was just like way too much. I didn't love it. Was entertaining, but I didn't love it.
I thought it was the last one, so I agree. If it was the last one, I thought it would have been perfect, but to have wait, no, it was the last one.
I think it was, but still,
I loved it.
I didn't love it. I mean, but anyway, all I'm saying is like I wasn't looking forward to another match with Brock. You know what I mean? So like, it's crazy to think that we're at this point where we're like, oh my god, I can't wait for SummerSlam to see Cody versus Brock. Like, I am curious to see what the stipulation is going to be, since allegedly they turned down the dog collar match.
I'm so pissed they turned it down.
I feel like
$3 collar matches in the past year. Insane that's legit. The worst one I saw was on the Indies, and it was just because of the placement of the match on the show. It should have been in the middle, not the main event. And then the other one was the Briscoes FTR, which I know you don't watch AEW ROH.
I know who they are.
I know you know who they are, but you know that it was a good match from what you've seen on the Twitter.
Yeah.
So to bring that to WWE, I understand why they didn't do it, because you can't. They're not going to allow that much blood. You need that much, blood and hardcore in that type of match. That's what it was built upon in the early 60s and 70s. So if you can't do it there, you got to do something that's just as outlandish.
Yeah, so I'm curious about that. So before we get to like the rest of the comments, let's talk about the SmackDown preview, which we got a little bit of a hint of it from Paul Heyman. Huh?
One comment from Micah, I just want to say. He gave us the lyrics to the first verse. So I'm going to be a champion of the peeps here. Put it up here so you can take your picture.
I'm like, I know the words.
No, this is for the peeps, not for you.
Okay.
We know where Cody stands here. But for the peeps, you screenshot it now so you have it. You don't even need to go on the internet and search it. And then, boom, there you go. Screenshot it now. You're welcome. Thank you, Micah, for giving us the first verse, so you don't feel left out when Cody Rhodes comes out. We're all singing along.
All right, so SmackDown preview. We had
Yeah.
Paul Heyman on Raw talking about because he's doing double duty unless this was a pre-taped thing, which is possible.
Yep.
He said this Friday night we will be seeing a family drama play out right before our eyes, and that is when Jey Uso will be making a historic choice between his twin brother Jimmy or the tribal chief, and he says that Jey must acknowledge Roman Reigns or else. So I'm very curious about this, which is again something that I feel like if you asked me a few months ago, even if I would be sitting here excited about anything to do with the bloodline, I would probably be like, but
Over it.
it's still good. It's still good, and I can't deny that. So I'm
Sarah, there was
intrigued.
one thing missing from that Paul Heyman monologue. I don't know if you caught it. He didn't say that that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler.
Oh.
And I don't have the best hearing in the world, but I have a keen sense of hearing when something like that is left out of a Paul Heyman promo. Because anytime Paul Heyman comes across my gaze, I listen to what that man has to say. I was once hypnotized by him cutting a promo at Raw once. Like when the man speaks, you listen, just like a champ.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know. I mean, you know what he's going to say. You know the man, all that textbook stuff. When that doesn't get said, and especially when it's something so, I would say, connected to Heyman's character at this point, there's a reason. So watch out for that. I'm just going to say it, just going to throw that out there so that when our peeps are reviewing now, they're watching on Friday and Jey doesn't acknowledge the tribal chief for some odd reason. And he goes with his brother Jimmy. You heard it here first.
I would still love to see Paul turn too and join forces the other way. I think that would be.
He can't. I agree, but I've got to a point where he can't. Like he's going down the ship. It's Paul Heyman.
I just meant like eventually. I don't mean right this second. I just think it would be kind of funny because like nobody would predict that,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very intrigued by this. I'm sure this will be at the end of the show. I hope it is.
Bernard agrees with me. Let's go, Bernard.
I didn't. I never said anything. I never said what was going to happen.
I even agree with me.
It seemed like you were celebrating that he didn't agree with me.
No, I'm celebrating that he agreed with me. I'm not.
All right.
We're basking in the champ's glory right now. And then Sora, the science guy, my dude. Frankly, as soon as he said Jey would side with Sora, I felt immediately he's def going to do the opposite. Someone's catching on. Someone is learning the business quick. Oh, so nice when you see the wrestling fans that you make finally understanding and loving the business. And yes, you continue.
So then we had Money in the Bank qualifying matches, which we did touch on them a little bit when we talked about SmackDown on Saturday, but now I guess we can kind of make our predictions. So we have two women's matches, Bayley versus Mia Yim, Shotzi versus Io Sky. I still think it's going to be Bayley and Io because I think they're going to have some sort of debacle in the middle of the Money in the Bank match. I wouldn't be surprised. I really kind of feel like Io is going to be the winner, and I think that is going to be a contentious part of the match between her and Bayley, and it might lead to how they kind of like split. So that's my prediction for the women.
Okay, the true wrestling fan in me wants to see Bayley lose, Io win, and then Io go for it, Bayley screw her. Problem is with that is that you need to have Bayley in the match. You need to have Bayley in that match to create that moment physically for you where they actually tug over the Money in the Bank, and then the friction builds with her having the Money in the Bank. Right. I see that and prefer that, prefer a little better because I like a little bit of spice. But I see where they're going there. It would be nice to see.
I know. I really want
to have Bayley at the O2.
I would love to see Io win. I feel like you can't. I mean, I know that they couldn't have her beat Bianca, but I mean, they were really behind her. So I'm like, you should try and do something for that because that was crazy. And then we had Mustafa Ali versus Santos Escobar and Butch versus Baron Corbin. Now, I feel like these aren't as predictable, but given the fact that Ali and Corbin are both doing NXT double duty right now, I'm going to go with Escobar and Butch, which I love. I mean, Ali or Escobar would be great in the match anyway, but as we always say, you go where the or the iron is hot, and Escobar, the LWO, are hot right now. So go with Escobar.
WO coming out at Money in
Yeah,
the Bank.
and the lucha wrestling works great in matches like a ladder match, so go for it. Butch, obviously, they're at the O2. Go with Butch. Plus, he's like kind of a high flyer, kind of not. He's a smaller guy, so it's like go
He
with
not
it.
he is one of
Yeah.
my favorite themes. I don't know if it's his NXT or his England European stuff theme, but it comes on when I do the shuffle,
Hmm.
and it's oh my god, I'll send it to you. It's incredible.
So do you agree about Escobar and Butch winning?
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not gonna sit here and echo what you said. You're 1,000%.
Okay. So then the other thing that was passing around right now, which is I mean, I don't know what's running the rumor mill at this point. Roman Reigns will turn babyface in the future. So a lot of people were thinking that it was meant like it was going to be happening right now. That is not the case. But I do have this quote. I think is it Dave Meltzer, whoever said it. I don't even know who said it. Um, but they said the angle remains the focal point of the company and has plenty of twists and turns left. There is who Jey Uso sides with that can be dragged out, the inevitable Sikoa and Reigns feud, more with Reigns versus Cody Rhodes way down the line, and in the end, the Reigns babyface turn in the role as the all-time legend, which it seems these past few years is grooming him to be, and the special attraction superhero babyface for the big shows. I feel like this isn't shocking at all because there aren't that many characters that stay one side or the other for like years at a time unless you're John Cena or I guess I mean I don't even know if I would say Stone Cold was ever really a babyface. I kind of feel like he was always a heel, but he was that lovable heel, so it was like
He was
they
the
just kind of
anti-hero.
went
He was
yeah,
the
so it was
anti-hero.
kind of yeah, and I feel like with Roman, like he's been great as a heel, but he's been a heel for quite a few years at this point. So it's like inevitable that he would be turning at some point and probably
Yeah,
end his career as like a fan favorite. You know what I mean?
yeah. When I first read this, my mind just immediately went to thinking of the now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
right after this feud's over, he's going to turn babyface, and then after texting with you about it, and
yeah,
you bringing that up, and then thinking about it, it makes sense that he'll go babyface when they're ready to usher him into that upper echelon of like he is Hulk Hogan, he is John Cena, he is Stone Cold,
yeah,
like all those guys, and it will be what you said, inevitable, because once he comes out, the crowd's going to erupt,
yeah.
and if it's in boos or in cheers, it doesn't matter. He's a face because he's a fan favorite.
Well, I mean, and he can implement some of the aspects of him as a heel, as a babyface too, because the way, like we were saying, the way they were trying to make him into the top guy in the company right after Cena kind of decided that he wasn't going to be around as much was they were trying to make him into John Cena. So he was doing some of the cornier things that Cena did, but Cena got away with it. Roman's not that type of dude. Like he's more of a rugged, like I don't know. There's a huge difference between him and Cena. It
Massive
doesn't work, huh?
doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work with Roman. So he can still implement. It's the same thing like I was just saying about Stone Cold. Like Stone Cold was still a badass and kind of an asshole, but it was like everyone loved him for it because he still was like both sides. It's almost like they're more human because someone is not good all the time. So Roman can bring that in and it's still like a fresh way to make him into a good guy again without it going completely reverting back to how he was before the bloodline stuff and people just like couldn't stand him because he was just so like boring and corny. So I think that he could do that. And as long as I think because of the development that he's had over the last few years, he's definitely capable of doing it and pulling it off way better than he has in the past. So I think that, yeah, it's the right move and it makes sense. So it's exciting, I would say.
It is nice. It is nice.
And then that was Raw in our SmackDown preview.
It was a great Raw. It was awesome. It was great. It pushed the show along. It kept you enticed and made you want to tune in next week. So I'm excited for this. I was happy with it at the end of the day, and I mean I'm just excited for SmackDown. I've been I should turn NXT on TVB, but I was watching NXT now. It gets you in the mood to continue watching and see everything unfold. So I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Thank you all for tuning in to this edition of the Raw Rewind, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get. Oh, of course, Micah, showing love to you. Showing love to you, not the champ. Okay, Micah. All right, we see.
Number one. We the ones.
Oh, you're the one. All right.
I'm the one.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm the champ. So let's comment. So follow the one, Sara. Let's go, Sore. I was just about to promote a Sore, so hold your horses. Because we promote the pod, leave that 5-star rating and a comments. Help us out. And then you're watching on Sara's YouTube channel. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Because you got to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell so you know when we go live. And if you don't have an hour and 16 minutes and 15 seconds, long episode, to sit and listen and watch this long episode, we cut clips for you of all the topics that we cover, because sometimes you don't want to talk about Ronda Rousey or even hear about it, but you do want to hear about KO and Imperium. So we have those clips for you on Sara's YouTube channel. Go subscribe now, and then follow us on Twitter at Pat_Pitts and at SMarshXO. On Instagram at Pitsy35 and at SMarsh_. And I'm about to go live with the Nonsense Sports Network on Twitch.tv. So go check out that. I'm playing my Nonsense Sports for Stadium Rant, Sara. We got a big matchup, all right? I got my 3 offensive weapons: Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, Tyquan Thornton.
Sweet.
Going up against the Eagles, which is another random nonsense team. So if you want to see me just yeet touchdowns to Tyreek Hill for 6, go check out twitch.tv/Nonsense Sports Network, presented by Stadium Rant, and then the Gillette Gazette Show, which is on the Stadium Rant YouTube channel as well. And then, Sara, you got the Musket Fire. You got some Patriots content firing with your musket on all cylinders. We love it. Well, not really cylinders. Muskets really go that way. But we don't have time to debate that now. Your boys got to go play a primetime Sunday football game. And in the meantime, while you're go checking that out, have a great rest of your night. God bless. Remember that you could do it. All you got to do next episode.